I just always was fascinated with the cosmos and stars and galaxies and the structure of the universe, the speed of light, and how when you're looking up at the space, you're actually looking at the past. My first memory of, knowing that I was different was in first grade. I think my teacher's name was Mrs. Bouchel in North School.
Matt.
And she would pass out these one sheet, simple reading. And I just remember looking at it like it was Chinese. And we had those desks where you lift up the whole desk and then there's just space to put stuff in. And then I had a stack of them stuffed in the desk because I never handed them in. And she has never had control of my life, ever.
Hey, Joe, it's Matt. Call me when you get a second.
Hi.
Hi. How are you?
Good, how are you?
There's like a million questions to ask you, but going back to, I don't even know where to go. Sometimes it's so much there, and I just feel like also I couldn't talk to you for so many years in any real way. So, I'm relearning you and trying to understand you. I guess the question I have is, why would you want to be open about your story? What would you want people to know? Why wouldn't you want to hide it?
I don't know, to help other people. To make other people understand that, listen, there are probably a lot of people out there who have a pretty similar story to mine, whether their childhood trauma was a learning disability or being beat up by their parents or some other childhood trauma. There's lots of people that have a story similar to mine.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, you have 3 kids that grew up in the same house their entire life, okay?
Yeah.
With the same 2 parents who stayed married in the exact same environment. Why did one of them up so badly? The fact that, we're brother and sister, you're in a very unique position to tell this story.
I think that I don't know anything. This is why I'm here. I want to know everything.
Okay, so this is how the story goes in terms of how opiates took over my life. In 2005, I hurt my back. I went to this doc. He gave me 90 Norcos with the refill.
Are you suffering with pain?
You feel like everyone is far away from you.
Feel the weight of sadness. You feel lonely.
Trouble concentrating, long-term pain relief that sets you free.
So what happens? I'm taking 10 a day. So then I ran out of them, and then what do? I tell anyone who has Vicodin, I'll buy it from you. Okay? And that's it. It was downhill from there. The financial crisis is getting worse. It's getting worse. I'm freaking out. Dad's telling me everything will be okay.
Financial market now tumbled more than.
And then Dad died. Just completely suddenly. Literally had a conversation with him Friday afternoon, and that's the last time I ever talked to him. And then I'm just like a zombie walking through the offices of my company, and then 2 weeks later, when the business went under, I'm thinking about it. I gotta get out of my head. I can't take it because I'm in so much pain. I gotta stop this pain. I gotta stop. That's when I started using heroin. when you have thoughts like racing in your head and you're just freaked out about everything and you have no idea what you're gonna do and you got all these, this rolling around in your head, heroin is very good at stopping that, cold in its tracks.
I guess the question I have is, when that goes away, what's left?
Oh, just horror and misery. When the heroin starts to wear off and you start to get, feel dope sick, it's the worst mental and physical pain you can imagine.
So then all those thoughts rush in, everything you were just trying to avoid.
Oh, 10 times worse. 100 times worse. But then what do? How do you, then what's the solution to that? Get more and stop it. And that's why heroin is such a hard drug to get off of, because for, $10 or $15, you can stop the pain.
It makes me feel like in some way that it is the idea that not only is it a disease, but it's a learned disorder, like that you actually have rewired your brain for real.
Of course, there's no question. Totally neuroplasticity rewires your brain.
There's a mysterious zone far out in our solar system.
This is a lemur on a tree in Madagascar.
So there's many animals that take drugs. So there's this one, I think it's a lemur that gets high off this one, I don't know, it's this one, another thing native to Madagascar. And they just show you the lemur, it's like salivating from the mouth and like laying upside down and just high as We have the same midbrain as these other mammals. Midbrain is responsible for like the next 10 seconds of your, or 10 or 15 seconds of your life. It makes you breathe. It's fight or flight. Once an addict gets that rewiring going, that rewiring happens, which it happens very, very quickly. Right, the prefrontal cortex can't overpower it. Remember the first intervention when you flew in after Mom was in California?
Yeah, it was really scary to see you. I felt like you'd given up on life. You had dirty dishes everywhere and you were just a mess.
Right, oh yeah. Addiction is so much, out of any disease, it affects the people around you the most. It really does. So, where cancer, yeah, it affects your family, but addiction literally tears the fabric of the family at its roots, and it up the family. And we live in this family, and we know that my actions and all the bullshit that I put this family through has ripped this family apart. I went into like just a 3-day rehab the weekend because I had a job at that point. And I go to the doctor. I just want to deal with the acute problem because I got a job now. I just want to detox. And he goes, but we don't have an acute problem. We have a chronic problem. And that's why it didn't work.
Yeah, because you're treating a chronic disease like an acute problem.
Right.
Hey, Matt, what's going on?
My name is Matt, and I'm a recovering addict.
Matt, would you like to share?
Matt, are you using again?
So if rehab doesn't work and these short detoxes don't work, what does work for you?
So let's just get a term ready for you so I can use it. It's called IOP, which stands for intensive outpatient. At IOP, they always say You know, never miss, you know, always come in, doesn't matter how you feel, you know, because it's a very dangerous world out there. It's dangerous to be out in society.
Yeah. So in your program, do you see a therapist?
Yep.
Where do you think it all comes from?
That I hate myself. And I can't stop hating myself for 2 minutes to give myself a break that allow me to start over. I can't change the past, okay? Believe me, I've tried. I've tried in my mind. And I'm so sick of being in a position of saying, God, if I could just go back a year, if I could just go back 6 months, if I could just go back 3 months. I can't do that anymore. I gotta stop doing that.
Yeah.
I haven't used heroin since January. So that's, you know, getting in close to a year, you know, a month and a half, you know, that's the longest I've gone. I'm on Suboxone. It's working.
Are you worried now that you will use again and you won't stay where you're at right now? I mean, you always have to be worried to some degree.
Of course I'm worried. Of course I'm worried. I know I'm an addict, and it's a very strong force, unfortunately, in my life, and that I'll be fighting for the rest of my life. I'll stick to the not using drugs and stick around on this planet for a little longer. 3, 2, 1, blast off! You know, I want to live. That's what I guess I'm trying to say.
That's a big thing to say.
If I can stop the drugs and, you know, stick around, maybe I'll live long enough for us to send a probe to Europa or Enceladus, and we'll, you know, drill through the ice and find life on those moons.
Hello, my name is Matt, and I'm a recovering heroin and crack cocaine addict. A solution to the American opioid epidemic will ultimately be found on the demand side of the equation. This means repurposing the deca-billions of dollars spent seizing less than 10% of the drugs that flow into America into drug treatment and harm reduction programs.